Hi, I'm Dr. Saqib Mansoor, and today's topic is the hypothalamus. We are now discussing the neuroanatomy, and today's topic is the hypothalamus. Various aspects, nuclei, and functions, focusing on each nucleus functioning special functions. That's focusing on that. So, first of all, general words about the hypothalamus. So it's a very small organ. It's 0.3% of the total brain. But it's very important part, the CNS. It is essential for life. It controls our autonomic nervous system and endocrine system, and thus indirectly controls body homeostasis. Homeostasis means it maintains the continuous environment, internal milieu of the body. It's well placed for this purpose, lying in the center of the limbic system. Study limbic system, so this hypothalamus, this is placed in the center of the limbic system. So it is the site of the numerous converging and diverging neuronal pathways, and through its adequate blood supply, it's able to sample the blood chemistry. So the hypothalamus makes appropriate controlling responses following the integration of its nervous and chemical inputs. So this is the thing. So, this is, I told you in the many lectures, the various parts of the developing brain, brain vesicle, forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. So this is development of the hypothalamus is from forebrain, the prosencephalon, which has two parts, the telencephalon from which the cerebellum develops, and the diencephalon from which the thalamus, we studied already, and this hypothalamus develops. So hypothalamus develops from the diencephalon that extend from the region of the optic chiasma to the caudal border of the mammillary bodies. Optic chiasma to the mammillary bodies, and we can better see that in this picture as well. This is the optic chiasma, and these are the mammillary bodies. So this posterior to that is lying the hypothalamus, and it lies below the thalamus and forms the floor and the inferior part of the lateral wall of the third ventricles, that we know already. And here you could see that this is the above would be the, you've studied the ventricles, lateral ventricle, and here this would be there would be the for third ventricle. So this is this is the word about thalamus, and at this part would be the hypothalamus. So this is the various portions, and which you could see the this you see this will focus on this hypothalamus. This is a hypothalamus sulcus, and this portion of the hypothalamus. And you have told you two bodies structures. This is the optic chiasma, and optic chiasma, and posterior to that is a mammillary body. So extent of this hypothalamus is from this optic chiasma to the mammillary bodies, right? So it extends forward from the optic chiasma to the lamina terminalis and the anterior commissure. It is referred to as the preoptic area. So caudally, the hypothalamus, caudally means lower down. This is the hypothalamus. So lower down, it merges with the tegmentum of the midbrain. So you know this is a midbrain, which has a tectum and a tegmentum. So this is a tegmentum, is it merges with the that. So going now directly to the hypothalamic nuclei. Now these are the nuclei, right? So it is composed of small nerve cells that are arranged in groups of nuclei, many of which are not clearly segregated from one another, not separated from one another. And for functional reasons, the preoptic area, just told you, is included as part of the hypothalamus. So when we have to describe it, the nuclei divided by an imaginary parasagittal plane into medial and lateral zones. So I enlarge this picture for you, and that will make the things easier probably. This is the sagittal section, and you could see here we have the two groups of the nuclei, the medial and lateral zones. You see this picture and this as well, right? These are the various nuclei lying over here. What is the medial zone? This contains from anterior to posterior the part of the preoptic nucleus. You could see this is the preoptic nucleus, right? This is the medial zone, of course. Then the anterior nucleus. This is, and then is the part of the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This suprachiasmatic nucleus and the preoptic nucleus. And anterior is not shown in this picture. As you could also see, this is the preoptic nucleus and this is the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And then we go to the paraventricular nucleus. Paraventricular nucleus, the medial lobe. This is the paraventricular nucleus. As we move on, we will go and check the dorsomedial nucleus. Dorsomedial. This is the dorsomedial nucleus, right? This is always in the medial group of the nuclei. Ventromedial nucleus. This is dorsomedial, and also here is the ventromedial nucleus. And then is the this is also known infundibular or the arcuate nucleus. Infundibular or the arcuate nucleus, and then is the posterior nucleus, right? It's not all these are labeled, mostly they are present in this picture. So this picture you can focus for the medial group of the nuclei. And for the lateral zone, this picture was showing the medial zone, right? This shows the medial zone of the nuclei, and the picture below contains the lateral zone of the nuclei. So what does it include? So preoptic is present in both the medial and the lateral, so it will be present in the preoptic nucleus, right? And then is a suprachiasmatic nucleus part also present here. This is a suprachiasmatic nucleus, and then is a supraoptic nucleus. Supraoptic nucleus. This is supraoptic nucleus, right? And number 4 is the lateral nucleus. This is anyway, it's a lateral tuberal nucleus. And then is the tuberomammillary nucleus. This you could see tuberomammillary nucleus, and last lateral tuberal nucleus. This is I told you already. This is the thing. So these are the various nuclei present in that. The function of the various nuclei we'll learn from a chart of the table. It's not would be that difficult, I believe. So this is a coronal section that shows the various positions of the hypothalamic nuclei. You may have look at this picture as well, right? Yes, as you could see, this is the paraventricular nucleus, and this is the dorsomedial nucleus, this is ventromedial nucleus, this is the tuberomammillary nucleus, just described in the lateral and medial groups. This is a lateral nucleus, infundibular, tuberomammillary nucleus, and then the optic tract. This is not a nucleus, right? These are the nuclei. This is in the median, and this is showing the position. This is a coronal section. Then we have to show the communications of the hypothalamus, the afferent and the efferent pathway. Of course, afferent are those pathways which are coming in towards the hypothalamus. This is the hypothalamus, and these arrows you see coming into that. What are they? Just visceral and somatic afferent, tegmental fibers. Tegmentum, is a part in the brain stem, and they're coming towards that. And the region of the hypothalamus is this is the hypothalamus, and then this is the hypophysis cerebri, and this is the olfactory fibers. Very important, sense of smell, and the smell of olfactory fibers coming into that. Then this cortico-hypothalamic fibers coming into that, and also this hippocampo-hypothalamic fiber. This is from hippocampus. It's a structure, and it's giving fibers into that. These are the afferent coming towards the hypothalamus, into the hypothalamus, afferent or afferent, and efferent coming away from the hypothalamus. These are the pathways. You see descending fibers through brain stem and spinal cord, and then you see this fibers going into upwards here to the thalamus, and this going downwards to the hypophyseal tract. This is going to the hypophysis and the pituitary gland, and this is going from hypothalamus away from the mammillothalamic tract, and then there's a mammallotegmental tract. This showed you already. Just various efferent fibers. This is also the table in your book. Main hypothalamic afferent and efferent nuclei. These are the afferent, show you main tracts, and you can devise it from the image here, that the afferent or the medial and spinal lemnisci. These lemnisci I have discussed in great detail in the study of the brain stem, then the visual fibers and the medial forebrain bundle, auditory fibers, visual, auditory, right? And then also the tegmental fibers, tegmentum of the midbrain. So this is sort of where is the destination of the particular nucleus. You can remember that if you want. And this is the origin, right? Like mentioned earlier. These are different going to the various parts. And this is self-explanatory, like this mammallotegmental tract. Mammallo means takes its origin from the mammillary body. Thalamic tract means interior nuclei of the thalamus, going to the thalamus. Then we imported two hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract and the hypophyseal portal system. What are these? This is you study hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract and hypophyseal portal system. So first we study the hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract. This is a neuronal tract, right? You study the two nuclei, paraventricular and supraoptic nuclei, and you should know their functions. What are the functions of these two nuclei? These are the, what are they? Paraventricular and supraoptic. So supraoptic forms vasopressin. Paraventricular synthesizes oxytocin, right? This is the happy hormone. So this is they are synthesized in the hypothalamus, and they are transported into this pituitary gland posterior lobe via these neuronal fibers. So this is called as hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract. These two hormones formed in the supraoptic nucleus and the paraventricular nucleus. The hormones are oxytocin, and then in the second hormone is the ADH, the antidiuretic hormone, that transported into pituitary, and those synthesized in the hypothalamus, they transported into the pituitary, and then pituitary releases these hormones into the bloodstream. So this is the mechanism, right? And then another system we have to discuss. This is the hypophyseal portal system. What is that? The portal system is that with the two sets of capillaries are involved. You see one set here. It is formed by the superior hypophyseal artery branch of the internal carotid artery. This forms the plexus. This is the capillary plexus, right? So then this is the hypophyseal portal vein, and this is another set of capillaries here, vascular sinusoids, and going into the form that this is the inferior hypophyseal artery, and the vein drains into the venous sinus. So these two sets, they form the hypophyseal portal system. So this is then we have the hypothalamic releasing and hypothalamic inhibitory hormone and their effects on the hypophysis anterior lobe. This is, hypophysis is pituitary. So there are some releasing hormones that stimulate the growth of certain hormone, and some inhibitory hormones which minimize the release of hormone. Of this, there are feedback mechanisms involved, right? Therefore, like this is the GHRH, growth hormone releasing hormone, growth hormone inhibiting hormone, prolactin releasing hormone, prolactin inhibiting hormone, corticosporin releasing hormone, thyrotropin releasing hormone, and the LH, the luteinizing hormone releasing hormone. So various hormones act on the interior pituitary, and this is the function. Of course, releasing hormone will stimulate the growth, and the inhibiting hormone will reduce the growth. So this is the, I think, very, very important table 34 here in my book. So this is a hypothalamic nuclei, and their function, like the supraoptic nucleus, synthesizes vasopressin, which is the ADH, antidiuretic hormone. And if it's not functioning, we'll study what happens in the applied aspect. Paraventricular, oxytocin, preoptic and anterior parasympathetic system, and posterior and lateral Sympathetic system, anterior hypothalamic nuclei regulate temperature, response to heat, and posterior hypothalamic nucleus response to cold. So these both anterior and posterior hypothalamic nucleus control heat, this control temperature. This is response to heat anterior, response to cold posterior. Lateral hypothalamic nuclei, this is initiate eating and increases food intake. This is hunger center. So lateral is for hunger, and the medial one is it inhibits eating, and it teaches you and tells you that you are not full, and that this is satiety. You don't need any more food. This is the lateral hypothalamic nuclei, increases water intake. This is the thirst center. And the suprachiasmatic nucleus, very, very important as well, controls circadian rhythm. So you see all these functions, very, very important in the body, are controlled ultimately by the hypothalamus. It influences pituitary, it controls sympathetic, parasympathetic system, that is the autonomic nervous system. So it regulates temperature, it maintains weight, appetite is controlled by that, and then sleep-wake cycle. So it is oxytocin and vasopressin, all the very, very important functions related with that. Malfunction will lead to various diseases. Soon I will talk about that. So you repeat and memorize this table. You can copy, paste, read from book, put into your mobile, write it on your table again and again. So homeostasis, how does it is mean? Of course, this is the feedback system involved. This is hypothalamus, and it acts on the end via endocrine control hormones and autonomic control, sympathetic and parasympathetic center. And in turn, these hormones and nerves act on the hypothalamus to inhibit or stimulate that. So this is in the end, clinical anatomy. Obesity and wasting. Of course, obesity would be produced by this if the hunger center or satiety center, this hunger center is like stimulated. This lateral hypothalamic nucleus stimulated more, the person will keep on going eating, and this will occur in the result in the obesity, activating in increased weight. And the medial hypothalamus nuclei inhibit eating and reduce food intake. And that will now satiety, and patient won't feel hunger. That will result in wasting of the muscles, the cachexia or the anorexia nervosa. These are the various terms. So this is with the hypothalamus. Then hyperthermia and hypothermia. What is that? Hyperthermia, the response to cold is not achieved, then this will result into temperature fall. The hypothermia and response to heat is not all. This is with the anterior hypothalamic nucleus, that will result in the hyperthermia, and body temperature would cool, body temperature would be increased. Then the diabetes insipidus. What is that? This is the anti-diuretic hormone, ADH. It inhibits diuresis. Diuresis means more production of urine. So if it is paralyzed supraoptic nucleus, what will occur? There is going to be a lot of urination. It won't be diabetes mellitus. So this would be more production of urine, would be known as diabetes insipidus. And the sleep disturbance, to the disturbance of the circadian rhythm, which is the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And in the last, the emotional disorders. This various emotional, the sexual dysfunctions related with the disorders of the hypothalamus. And with this, stop my discussion of today, and this finishes the hypothalamus with you, and I see you soon in my next lecture. I say you goodbye and very good wishes for you all.